6:47 a.m., Thursday, May 7th, 1964.
Oakland approach control, this is Pacific Air Flight 773, 5,000 feet.
Pacific 773, Oakland approach control. Radar contact 22 miles northeast of Oakland, maintain 5,000. Your transmitter is garbled. The Oakland altimeter 2, 9 or 9 or 8, time 13:48 1/4.
Roger. Can you read me now?
Still has the same, sounds like overmodulation.
Unintelligible.
Say again?
Oakland approach control, this is United 593.
United 593, roger. Traffic, 12 o'clock, 5 miles southwest bound to Pacific Fairchild. You'll be number 2 on ILS left runway 28 at San Francisco.
Thank you, we have the rest.
Roger. Pacific 773, turn left headed 200 to vectors at ILS left 28 at San Francisco. United 593, turn left headed 160.
160 for United 593.
Pacific 773, Oakland approach control. Pacific 773, Oakland approach control. Radar contact lost. Turn right headed 270, maintain 5,000. United 593, do you still have the Pacific aircraft in sight? Over.
No. Where should they be?
Should be at your 2 o'clock position, 4 miles westbound.
Unintelligible.
No. Maybe that transmission was there.
I believe there is something wrong.
L.D. McFadden, marketing rep for Pacific Airlines.
2 drinks on the house, free limousines to and from the airport, a free buffet dinner, and a $15 cash refund. The package deals were put together through the cooperation of the Reno Chamber of Commerce, the airlines, and 2 Reno casinos, Harold's Club and Harold's Club. In both cases, the traveler is encouraged to spend the entire evening awake and alert at the casino he chooses. He can take no baggage with him and must take one of 3 early evening flights to Reno and return on one of 3 early morning flights back to San Francisco the next day.
Tiny bits and pieces of what were once people, scattered with the crumbs of what was once an airplane, are all that's left of the Pacific Airlines flight that crashed today.
John Farmer, Hayward Review, May 7th.
The crash site, spread out over 400 yards of ranch land off rural Tasahara Road, about a mile inside of Contra Costa County, reveals that the terrible impact made survival impossible. It is strangely quiet on the hillside, despite the emergency crews. What voices dare break the silence are drowned out by a wind that whips across the hillside in cold gusts. A pair of priests arrive to administer last rites, but walk away, shaking their heads. There are no bodies to give last rites to, one says. It's too late even for us. A grim-faced sheriff's deputy puts it another way, saying, there's just a lot of hamburger out there, no people. Wallets, handbags, business cards, rings, bits of briefcases and clothing. Everything is being put into one little cardboard box. Everything that is near and dear to 44 people fits into one little cardboard box.
Federal Aviation Administration Representative Joseph Tippett.
Mr. Tippett!
Oh, Pacific Airlines is in the process of identifying the next of kin. No addresses of the victims will be released until notifications are complete. And probably this afternoon. The airline has set aside a special room at the San Francisco International Airport for the families of the crash victims. But none has arrived as of yet.
Why is the FBI involved?
The FBI is investigating any possible violations of federal law in this unexplained disaster.
Is it true the flight tapes have been sent to Washington for analysis?
The tape recordings have been turned over to the FBI.
Why is the FBI involved?
We have no further comments at this time.
The Portland Reporter, May 7th.
The plane shattered on the crest of a gentle slope east of Danville. SF officials noted that visibility was excellent and that the plane would have reached its destination within a matter of minutes. Of the 44 killed, there was a crew of 3. Captain Ernie A. Clark, 52 of San Carlos, who had spent 4 years with the U.S. Army Air Corps and had served with the Pacific Air for 17 years. He is survived by 3 teenage daughters. His wife died the year before. First Officer Ray Andrus, 31, of Santa Clara, leaves behind a wife and 4 children. And stewardess Margaret Schaefer of Belmont, who has a 12-year-old daughter and a brother in Ohio. 33 people boarded in Reno. The plane stopped in Stockton where 2 people got off, and 10 boarded for the continuation of the flight to San Francisco.
Mr. and Mrs. Ray Prock of Tracy.
I don't know much about airplanes, but it seemed pretty quiet to me. It was a smooth flight. There was a lady and her mother-in-law from SF that we met on the plane. They were very nice. As we were getting off, one of the stewardess told us, "You sure have a beautiful airport. I've never seen it before." I wished her luck. As we walked away from the airplane, one of the pilots waved at me, and I waved back at him.
I was having breakfast with my children when I heard the sound of what was the plane's remaining engine.
Tony Aguiar.
It was only about 150 feet up, flying away from me toward the west. It was quiet. One engine was out, I don't remember which. Suddenly there was this huge explosion. One great ball of fire, and then the whole hillside was flying with bits of metal and everything.
David Silva.
My brother Richard and I were polishing the car. It was just after breakfast. We saw the plane coming in low, flying in a kind of glide. And then the plane disappeared behind this little hill. And at that instant, we heard this tremendous explosion, like a sonic boom. We knew everyone must have been killed.
Richard C. Collins worked at the Atomic Energy Commission's Radiation Laboratory in Livermore, and his wife Jean.
Well, I was just going
I've
out
always
to
been
get...
afraid of something like this happening. They fly so low over these hills. I've sometimes awakened at night thinking this might happen. I heard the engine whine and I looked out the kitchen window. It wasn't more than 200 feet up. I ran out the back door and looked up the hill just in time to see the plane hit the hill.
The plane
There
actually...
was a huge explosion. I'm not sure if it was on impact or right before. And then there was a ball of fire and a small mushroom cloud.
If it had cleared the hill, it would have crashed into San Ramon Village. There are about 2,000 lucky people over there.
San Francisco Examiner.
A temporary mortuary was set up for the plane crash victims yesterday in Danville's Oddfellows Hall, an old building which has a movie theater on the first floor. Representatives of at least 5 governmental agencies met on the second floor of the hall, which was converted into an autopsy room.
Oakland Tribune.
Danville. It is a warm, sunny day. Some persons moving along the quiet streets can feel it. They drive slowly past the Oddfellows Hall and the San Ramon Valley Mortuary, adjacent buildings. They see the aluminum-sided trucks pulled up alongside the hall, the tarpaulin stretched between the building and the trucks, the large Red Cross sign in front of the mortuary. In the hall, one room has been converted into an autopsy room and laboratory. A coffee pot perks merrily. Only coffee and years of conditioning doing this job keeps these men on their feet almost around the clock. Men who do this job all the time but never really become accustomed to the hellishness of it are sorting the shattered, pitiful mortal remains of 44 human beings.
We don't think we can identify a single victim.
Contra Costa County Coroner L.H. Frazier.
We are painstakingly gathering all the remains we can find. We don't think we can have anything to show the relatives. There'd be no sense in it. There's simply not enough to identify anyone. Frankly, we don't know what to tell the families.
Civil Aeronautics Board Chief Investigator Edward Slattery.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. On behalf of the Civil Aeronautics Board, the FAA, and all related agencies, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families of the victims of Pacific Airlines Flight 773. The investigation is ongoing with the full force of our nation's capital behind it. At this time, the analysis of the radio transmission between Flight 773 and air traffic control is still underway. The message was quite garbled, and it will take some time to decipher it, though we may not fully understand its contents. With that said, I have been authorized to release a portion of the deciphered message. It apparently reads, "My God, I've been shot. I've been shot."